Hey.
Yeller.
Okay, we normally say hey together.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm telling you.
We're not redoing it.
Oh.
Welcome.
Back to the wall. Okay, guys.
Are you guys happy that we're here?
Guys, I'm not kidding. This might actually be
Okay, listen. It's giving second episode fever, but it's only episode 1, and we have
15th
another
episode fever. I don't even know anymore.
We have another episode to record after this, and let me give you some insight. It's 10 o'clock now, and we still have another episode to record after. I told my mom when I went to go visit her today, she was like, oh, what are you doing later? And I was like, oh, Mia's coming over to record the podcast. She was like, oh. She was like, what time? I was like, I don't know. Sometime in the evening, I'm assuming. I was like, she hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I'm assuming she's coming over.
I did not look at my phone all day today.
No, I low-key...
It was the most...
Okay, so...
I want to look at my screen time for today, I'm not lying.
I feel like know what it is like to have anxiety, right? So here, check this out. This was my brain. I had sent you one text, and I didn't get a response, but I was like, she's a busy working girl, whatever, she'll get to it when she gets to it. I think that I sent you the first text around 11 or 12.
Yeah, that was
then
peak,
I think it was 4 or 5 p.m. and I hadn't heard from you, and I was like, okay, let me just maybe she opened it and meant to respond, and then she didn't, so now she forgot. I was like, let me send another text just in case.
Fair.
Right, so I was like, hey, just double checking, because I started questioning, did we make the plan? I was like, did we make it for Sunday? Because we normally do record on Sunday or Friday. Today's a Saturday. We never record on Saturdays. So I was starting to question myself. And then you hadn't responded for a little while. So here's what my brain started doing. I didn't even care about whether or not the episode got recorded, because I was like, we'll figure it out like we always do.
Right.
But I was like, what if she's going through a tragedy right now?
Oh.
What if she's going through some of the worst trauma of her life, and I'm asking her about a podcast episode?
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm literally so selfish.
I think I would tell you. I'd probably tell her, and I'd be like, I'm literally going to,
no, because I was thinking, okay, I'm thinking literally, some family member died. You got in a car accident. I'm starting to freak out, and I'm like, so what if she's not okay? And that's why she's not responding, and I'm over here asking her about a podcast?
Stop.
I'm literally the most selfish person in the world, and
stop.
she's going through trauma.
No.
But then you responded to me, and you're fine, and it's all good. That's actually why I was like, let me go see if she's posted on Be Real and make sure she's okay. That's and then I saw you were on Be Real, and I was like, okay, she's good.
No.
She's good.
Okay, it's so funny, because I'm looking at my screen time for today, and where the freak? Where did it go?
What's your screen time normally at?
So yesterday, it was 4 hours and 27 minutes.
Oh, that's low.
Today, it was 48 minutes.
Wow.
With most of it being after midnight, because I didn't go to bed till 1 a.m. last night, and I was on my phone from 12 to 1. On and off.
So you really, wore not on your phone.
I literally...
You took that Be Real, and that was it.
No, I'm telling you, I didn't even look at my notifications, because I got off work. Bro, I still haven't looked at my notifications from the today.
That's crazy.
I literally have been one with the world. I've been living in the moment.
I believed you, but that's the proof in the pudding's right there.
Proof
you know what I mean?
Pudding.
So I was just literally worried that the worst thing had happened to you. And then I was like, I'm so selfish and I'm awful.
No,
But high tide, that's not what happened.
There you go. Low tide, high tide. I'm okay.
Love that.
And low tide, but also high tide is that we get to record, but it is going to be a little
it's gonna
psychotic.
Be
no.
Psychotic.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be crazy.
You're my vocabulary person. I love your vocabulary. So anytime I say something, I need it. You have a very good vocabulary. Sometimes you say things, I'm like, oh, how did you just think of that?
Okay. Really?
Yes. I think that all the time. I feel like have I not told you this?
No.
No, literally, you'll say things, I'm like, oh, okay.
I've been told that I'm articulate, but that's just in the way that someone speaks, not necessarily in their...
Who uses the word articulate?
I use the word articulate.
I know! I gotta, play it cool. I'm like, oh, yep, I use that word, too. I use that word, too.
I know what that means.
I know what that means. I'm looking at you.
Oh, you know what? I thought of something fun today. I was thinking of before we get into our high and low tide, because this, you know what? If you guys are still listening, you guys just need to accept.
I just turned it off after the first.
You just need to accept the chaotic energy that we bring.
Mm.
And I feel like you just need to be grateful for it, because what other podcast is going to bring this to you the way that we do? You need to go with the flow. We're asking you to go with us in the current on this one.
Don't go against, go with.
Go with us. Because go with us
Float.
as we're going against the current.
Float along, yes.
But you know what I mean?
Hop in our raft boat.
Like, go down the stream that we're going down.
Are we paddling?
I don't know.
I don't want to paddle.
No, we're just following.
It's like a big warehouse. I literally have felt like I had to sneeze. I feel like it's coming.
Wait. Oh, you're about to sneeze?
It went away. I hate this feeling. It's literally... okay, sorry, continue. But, like, also, if you hear a loud sneeze,
It's not you.
It's gone.
I was thinking I wanted to do a fun little psychology thing.
Oh, no.
Which is literally... No, it's so dumb.
Oh.
It's so dumb. I wanted to think, when
color?
you think of me, what are the first 3 words that come to your head? And then when I think of you, what are the first 3 words that come to my head? Your first 3
words are... I'm not going to understand them because your vocabulary's so big. But okay. She's going to be like,
do you want me to go first or do you want to go first? And it's got to be like off the top of your head. Like, first 3 words that come to mind.
Oh, I already thought of 3.
Okay, you go.
I thought pretty strong, bold.
Oh.
Those are the 3 that came to mind.
Pretty strong, bold.
Yeah, those are like, literally, I was like, Hannah, those are the first 3 words that came to mind.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. Okay, so mine for you is charming, quirky, and beautiful.
Okay, quirky's crazy.
You are quirky. Thanks. I love your quirks.
Oh, stop.
But sometimes you do things that are not quirky.
Oh, right.
But, like, you act like they are quirky.
I just really want to not be like other girls. I want to be not like other girls. I'm like, guys, who else drank water today? Just me. All right.
Like, no, like, you don't understand. I like warm water.
Like, okay, that's quirky.
It is, but it's not a super quirky quirk. It's a quirk, but it's not the quirkiest of all quirks.
Yeah, like, who decides that?
You know what I mean?
No. I know. Who decides that? Who decides what the quirks
I don't know.
are?
I'm just going based off of my own knowledge.
All right. Miss Quirk Definer over here.
Definitor. For myself, I feel like I can relate to wanting to be quirky. So I'm like, that is quirky.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. No. I'm basically calling you unique. But
Let's
quirky is a cute unique. Like, when I think of quirky, I think, like, it's cute. Like, you're quirky. So it's like you're being unique in a cute way.
Okay.
Quirky.
What's, like, the bad version of quirky?
Weird.
Like, they're... Oh. Bro, if you said weird. Charming weird. Are they? All right. Stop.
Like, that's just... Like,
cameras.
if someone's different in a bad way, that's they're weird. But if you're different in a cute way, you're quirky.
Odd. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got a positive connotation.
Okay, good. As long as it's positive, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. So, high and low tide. Let's start with low. Switching it up.
Yeah.
Switching.
I know mine.
It actually just happened. As most of your low tides, they either just happen or you just remember them when we're sitting down to record.
Yeah, I don't like plan ahead very well. Also, I don't have a very good memory, so I'm just like, oh, this just happened. And it's so funny though, because you'll say something and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I think literally, I'm like, had the worst low tide ever. Like, I'm like, worst low tide ever. That's so dramatic. I need to stop. I literally was just throwing up. That's literally not anything. But I was like throwing up, and I think I said my low tide was like bug bites or something. I was like, wait, actually, I went through way worse. Like, I'm saying, I could like literally like have this horrible like car accident or something. I'm like, guys, my cheese was a little chunky this morning because I just don't think. Anyways,
your cheese was chunky?
It wasn't. Thank the Lord. I would hate that. That's a low tide.
Who gets
chunky cheese?
No, I know.
Are you serious?
No, I understand, but I'm saying, like, in what scenario would your cheese be chunky? Cottage cheese. Just answer my own question. That's chunky cheese.
Isn't all cottage cheese chunky?
That's my point.
I'm saying abnormally chunky. That's a low tide.
What?
If
how
I'm
does
expecting
that happen?
chunks, then it's not that big of a deal. Like queso.
I don't ever.
Like a little cheese dip.
I guess so.
And you get like I've actually never had this happen to me, but like this is my worst fear now. I'm gonna put this on my fear list.
Okay. Well, tell me what your low tide is.
Oh yes, it's just
your actual low tide, not your hypothetical chunky cheese low tide.
Just thinking about this as a low tide though, like just my hypothetical like I feel it in my throat. I feel like I want to gag. Okay. Oh yes. So it's kind of a high and low tide mixture because
crazy.
That's how it is. Anyway, so I come over. And I'm like, hey. And then Hannah said, hey.
I did.
And then she's like, I have Christmas cookies. And I was like, girl, say less. Say less. And then they walk in the kitchen. I walk into the kitchen.
Which is just walking into my house.
Okay. Stop. I walk into the kitchen. And I'm like, what you got going on? She gives me 2 cookies. Amazing. We rated them. Beautiful. There was a Heath chocolate cookie and then a Grinch sugar cookie. Mm-hmm. So, like, they were holiday. And I love cookies. And I was like, give them my way. So I'm eating them, yummy, yummy, yummy. And it's so funny, though, because, like, the way I eat, because I told you this, I think I like the Heath one more.
Yes.
Right.
Which makes sense, because that's your
Exactly, because I like chocolate
profile.
more than, like, sugar
Correct.
cookies. So when I eat, if I really like something, I save it, because I want that to be a lot of spice. So I was saving this cookie. I was, like, eating the Grinch cookie, I was snacking on that one. I was kind of saving that one just to be, like, the last flavor in my mouth. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that, and then, so I put it on, like, where we record the podcast. I put my little napkin with my cookies down. And then I
asked you to follow me out there, so it's really my fault.
Hannah! No, I don't. Yeah, so we were going for a stroll outside of the podcast room. I left my cookies on the desk, not thinking anything. And then I come back to get my phone, and I look down. And I was like, there used to be 2 cookies on this napkin. And then I look down even further, and then I see a little four-legged guy named Milo. And he was sniffing the floor awfully intently. I was like, let me use some context clues. I see little crumbs. I was like, no.
He ate your cookie. And you know what's crazy? As, like, I wouldn't have thought for you to, like, bring it with you, because he doesn't normally do that.
Right.
I don't know what his deal is tonight. He also, like, found something on his walk with Vlad tonight that he ate off the street. And I'm like, what? And then he's trying to eat this chocolate chip cookie, and I'm like, he's literally trying to, like, kill his stomach. I don't know what he's trying to do. Granted, it wasn't enough. Again, it's not enough chocolate or, like, pure cacao.
I'd want to eat that cookie
to make, a huge impact on his health, but it's obviously still not good for him. I'm like, what are you supposed to do? What's done is done. He did the damage.
Real. So, anyways, then I was out of a Heath cooker. So
that's a low tide.
No. Thank you.
My low tide. Well, we probably should have done our high tides first, because my low tide comes out after my high tide. So you know what? I'm just gonna I'm really gonna switch it up.
Alright, making me look silly.
I'm really gonna switch it up. I'm gonna say my high and then my low tide, and then we'll finish on your high tide.
Okay, that seems fair.
I totally just screwed up our whole flow.
No, that seems fair.
Anyway, so my high tide from this past week is that we had Friendsgiving with the church. Because, oh my gosh, we didn't even say it, but this episode, Happy Thanksgiving Week. Happy the week of Thanksgiving. Happy holidays.
Happy Turkey Week.
Happy Turkey Week. So we had our church Friendsgiving get together with our young adults group. It was so fun. There was amazing food.
Let me tell you.
We played Family Feud, which did not... well, technically we did win. But it was a very stressful game. There was cheating involved.
That game took years off my life, I'm not gonna lie.
I was so stressed. So angry. But it was fun. Nonetheless, great people. And there was a bonfire. Okay, so that was my high tide. My high tide was the fellowship and the Friendsgiving. Okay?
The mac and cheese.
So good.
That's my favorite. That's all I ate.
My favorite was the sweet potato casserole. So good.
Really?
So good.
I didn't have any. My least favorite? Gravy. Making the gravy.
We did make gravy. I forgot about that.
Put in a really confusing time traveling microwave that looks like it came from space. Anyways.
It did. So that was my high tide. My low tide is that I am not kidding you. I still feel like my dang hair smells like a bonfire. When I have been around campfires before, and I do not feel like I clung onto that smell as strongly as I did this time. Because I'm not going to lie, I've heard other women talk about that in the past. Where oh, my hair smells like smoke. And I always kind of thought they were being dramatic. I was like, what are you talking about? It hasn't happened to me that bad.
Interesting.
I come home from this Friendsgiving. I didn't even sit near the fire.
Right.
Reeking of bonfire. I was like, my clothes, reeking. My hair reeked. And I was like, okay, I need to shower and get this off. And my hair still smelled like bonfire. After a deep shampoo and conditioner, they were still there. And I'm telling you, at this point, I think it's a phantom thing where I feel like it's I'm constantly smelling bonfire.
Maybe it's your nostrils that just smell like it, the inside of your
nostrils. But I don't smell it in my day-to-day, but sometimes I go get away from my hair and I'm like, I swear I smell smoke. And I've washed, deep washed my hair 4 times this week.
Hear me out. You're just walking by a lot of bonfires.
Possibly that I'm unaware of. And I'm just really attracting that smell.
It's very popular around this time.
I don't know. My other low tide is fantasy football. I'm honestly so done with football this year.
I don't want to hear it from you, Hannah.
What do you mean? Dude, my record, I'm losing now. My record is losing.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Is it? I'm in last place. Me and Josiah are in last place.
You went to last place?
Yeah. So.
Okay, well then it's a
take
shared.
that, Hannah.
It's a shared low tide.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I've lost the last couple of weeks.
I lost 5 games in a row.
Don't we play each other this week?
Yes. I have the most points scored against me. I hope everyone knows. I looked at the stats, and I'm just unlucky, and I hate everything.
Well, you're probably going to get your win after this week. Because I'm doing absolutely awful.
What's going to do, honestly?
And my entire roster has been thrown out the window because of injuries. This season, I swear, the injuries are nuts. It's bad. Like, every good player is injured.
I know.
It's really bad.
I know.
And so we'll find out tomorrow what's going to happen. But I guess it doesn't really matter either way. I'm literally, like, I don't have... Okay, before, when my Cowboys... You
still have a chance for playoffs.
That's really crazy to me because I have not been doing well.
I'm doing this right now.
Because when Dallas Cowboys started to like go on their decline that we all expected, I at least had me doing well in fantasy football to like get me through. Now I have neither. I have no will to live, which is now my team name. Lost my will to live.
Oh yeah. All right. Let me
because that's just describing my fantasy football life.
You're tied for 4th.
I was in 2nd.
I was in 3rd.
You were.
You have a 15% playoff chance.
All right, that means none because I'm not going to win.
That's okay. You know how many I have? How the freak do I have the lowest? All right, this is insane. I have 6%.
It makes me feel better that Josiah's at the bottom too, so it's not just like, oh, the girls.
I agree. But how does Josiah have 10% playoff percentage and I only have 6?
I don't know.
But look at this. Technically, we're all actually tied for last. Me, Josiah, Vlad, and Jason.
Oh.
Nellinger. Also, but I have the most points scored against me. Like, I have 1,475 points scored against me. You only have 1,280.
Only.
I have over 200. Not over 200. A little less than 200 more than you.
That's crazy.
Scored against me.
And guess who's still in first?
I won't talk about it.
Frickin' Viet.
I think Jason's going to beat him this week.
Man, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
I think he's against Chase. No, he's not. I lied. He's against Nick.
Anyway.
Sorry, none of these people know.
None of these people care.
About. Like,
but that's my low tide. So anyway, you continue now with your high tide. Bring us up. Bring us up, Mia. Come on.
That's the chair squeaking, by the way. I don't know what y'all thinking, but stop thinking it. All right. I got excited. I did a little dance. So the chair squeaked. Anyways, speaking of bonfires, though, like I said, it's the season. I think this is my high tide another episode. But I have another high tide. This is just something random. The cooler weather.
It's true.
It makes me happy. It makes me...
The only thing I like about it is that I can turn my air off and I don't have to pay for... I don't have to pay for...
You know what I like?
AC.
I can use a heated blanket.
A heated blanket's crazy.
And a heated mattress.
You have a heated mattress?
Oh, girl. Yes, I do. I use it every night.
Okay, coffee shop.
Okay, girl, this was a gift like years ago. But I preheat it to get ready for bed. Especially after you take a shower and you're a little chilly. I can get into a... I love it. Anyways, that's what I love.
Crazy.
But yeah, she's cute. And I love just doing everything outside in the cooler weather. Speaking of doing things outside, my high tide is on Thursday. It's my day off. I went to the zoo with my sister and my niece and nephew.
Aww.
And my niece is so silly. She just cracks me up. She's like gaining like so much of her personality now.
She's the one that's called you Big Back, right?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm asking.
No, yes.
Okay. And like would like rearrange your room.
Tell me why Josh Perez, you know, let's know this, but he sent me a Big Back reel. Anyways. I'm name dropping everyone right now. I'm so sorry. But
that's her. You went to the zoo.
Yes.
Personalities.
And I thought it was funny. She's obsessed with baboons for obvious reasons.
Because of their butts?
Yeah, she calls them booty monkeys. So let me go see the booty monkeys. But her also favorite animals are crocodiles. She's just like, I love just like seeing her personality. And just like being at the zoo in the cooler weather is amazing. Even though, again, low tide is the food there is expensive. I literally got the chicken tender basket. It was like $14. Lowry Park, yeah.
Yeah.
I got this tender basket. Aurora got a kid's meal. It was only $10. Tell me why hers had more than mean.
That's crazy.
Mine. So anyways. But yeah, I liked the zoo. I liked the experience. I liked just like being outside and like having something to do. It was a real fun day.
I like Flower Park. It's fun.
Yeah. But that's it.
Well, alright. High and low tides are out of the way. Bing, bang, boom.
Amongst other random side bars.
Gap sessions. That for some reason we have people that want to listen to us.
Amazes me every day.
We just put a mic in front of us and we just start talking.
That's so funny.
Anyway,
okay.
Mia, bring us into our manna for the day.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. Alright. So, what week is it again?
It's Thanksgiving week.
In case you forgot.
One of the best weeks of the year.
Yes. And so, man, you're probably like, what are they going to say? Thanksgiving week? What are they going to say? Loki stalling as I pull up the verse again.
what can they possibly talk about on Thanksgiving week?
Oh, you would be amazed. 1 Thessalonians 5. Chapter 5, verse 18. I'm going to pause. Whoever knows it gets a prize. Okay, good job. If you knew it. If not, I'm going to read it. It says, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus.
Let me ask you a question. Does it say give thanks in only good circumstances?
Let me squint real quick. No.
Does it say give thanks only when I feel like it?
No.
Does it say give thanks only around other people so it makes me look good?
Clocked them. No.
Wow, that's crazy. It says give thanks in...
A. Give me an A.
Give me an L. Give me another L. Like me in fantasy.
Well,
it says all.
All circumstances.
Every single
And
one.
I love to, because I think so often, I just heard a sermon recently, and it was talking about like pretty much the idolization of clarity, especially in Christians. They're constantly like, God, I just want to know what your will is for my life. I want to know what you have for me.
Okay.
And it's pretty much saying like, that's not God's will. Like God's will is
for you to trust him.
Exactly. And obviously he can show us little things and wants to work with us. But like I think so many people just become, or like are just going to God so that they can just have these answers. Everyone wants to like have almost like this genie that's like, oh, take these steps and you're going to live happy.
Or hear me out, they just want the destination and they're not willing to go through the journey.
Exactly.
Or appreciate the journey.
And then you're not going to lean on a God like in the unknown if you know everything sort of thing.
It's so good.
It was really good. Anyways. So it just hit me like reading for this is God's will. So I think oftentimes, there's nowhere in the Bible that's like, oh, Hannah, you are going to be a CrossFit coach. That's my will for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if I would have read that, I would have said, this is crazy.
This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people are just always looking for like, oh, what is God's will? Like praying that.
So true.
So
you do see that a lot.
Yeah. And there's not many times that like if you look up like God's will, it doesn't just straight up say that. In many areas of the Bible, especially not like a very personal, like, oh, you should do this. This is the plan I have for you. You should become a pastor. You should do this, this, and this. But God's will, it clarifies, is giving thanks in all circumstances. Not something that like we would think is like, when you think of a will, you're like, oh, what career I'm going to have, what family I'm going to have, a husband, a wife, whatever I'm going to have. But he's saying, no, my will for you is actually just to give thanks in all circumstances. To trust in me, I mean, obviously the verses before are pretty important too, because it says rejoice always. So these are like the three things that like are probably the clearest, like God's will. Rejoice always. Not sometimes.
Always.
Pray continually. Not sometimes. And give thanks in all circumstances. Like he's saying, like once you do that, like you're doing my will. Like everything else is kind of like an outpour of that, you know? Like I'm just like pulling from different sermons. Right now, I think there's like Levi Lusco. I don't know his name. But I think that was not him actually. But I don't know.
Shout out.
I'm trying to give credit, but like, because I don't want people to think this is me. But there's a spirit working through someone else, and I don't know if it was Levi Lusco or not. But he was pretty much saying like, oh, what if he believes like God's will for him? Like he like was born on this earth to like play in a band or something. But say he like broke his arm. And he like wanted to play drums and he like broke his arm. Or like something happened to him. Like does he no longer have like he can't fulfill God's will now? You know what I'm saying? Like put so much like so much into what we believe like we're doing is God's will, when it's like really God's will is to rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. And again, everything else is just like, how can we incorporate that? Like that's the basis, and everything else is like, it's almost like so relieving thinking about like, wow, now you can just like live life once you have that down. Like whatever career you go in, it's not like, oh, I miss God's will for my life, because God's will for you wasn't necessarily, oh, you have to go be a teacher, you have to go be a pastor.
Because if I would have thought that I was supposed to, my will was to be a teacher, then I would feel like a failure.
Imagine how like again, relying on that is, and then how much more broken you would be having transitioned from there, like, oh, I feel like I'm missing something, like now I don't have that will, like I'm not completing anything. But that's not God's will. You might be like putting so much into your career, your school, like believing like, oh, this is what God wants for me. Like maybe maybe God did speak to you and like he has something for you in the future, but that's not like, say something happens, you're not like, that's not what we should be putting our all into, especially when it comes to our Christian faith. We shouldn't be putting all of our like, just again, faith into what we're doing to achieve that.
Also like, oh, I'm sorry, continue.
No, you're good, but just again saying like more how we can incorporate actual God's will in just our day-to-day
and
life.
Also like understanding and accepting that, like, you know, even if we do, I mean, absolutely God can call you to certain jobs or to certain people in your life, but there's also seasons for things, right? And there are people that come and go for different seasons, and there are jobs that come and go for different seasons, right? So I don't believe at this point that I was full on meant to be a teacher. I did at one point, and I believe that that was God's will for me. And you know what? It could have been for that season. And I learned so much. And it taught me so much. But I can also understand that there is ultimately, bigger than any job in this lifetime, we have those calls to rejoice always, pray continuously, give thanks in all circumstances. But then ultimately our biggest call or will as believers is the Great Commission. Right? Like above any job, it's to ultimately be Jesus and spread Jesus to everyone that we can. Right? Regardless of what job field you're doing that in, the people that you're around, where you're living, whatever your financial circumstances, doesn't matter. And so for me, I think it's like, if I were to have believed, okay, God, like his will for me is to be a teacher and that's it. And then I'm not a teacher anymore.
What do I have?
I either feel like I've had a loss of identity and a purpose, or it would have forced me to stay in a job that maybe that season it was no longer serving me. I was not called to stay in that job any longer. I was in it for a season. It taught me. I grew. I mean, I can't put into words how much I don't regret being a teacher from the life lessons that I've learned from that career. But I don't feel called to that career anymore. Right? And so if we were to have been in that mindset of, nope, this is what God called me to do, so therefore I can only do this and never do this, then I would either be stuck and miserable, or I would feel like a failure, and I would feel like I'm some Jonah that is running away from the calling that God has for me. So I also think that it's important too with like the praying continuously and rejoicing always and the giving thanks in every circumstance, that there's also a difference when it comes to like the toxic positivity. Because I feel like we can see that a lot in like Christian circles, where it's like some people take you not being in high spirits as sinful, because you need to rejoice always and you need to always be happy. And I'm like, ooh, that's not true. Actually, I 100% believe that you can rejoice while mourning, and you can rejoice while grieving. You can rejoice while feeling deep sadness, right? Because rejoicing God has nothing to do with our circumstances. You know, so like I look at Job, you know, and or even David, you know, in the Psalms that he was writing, and they were both going through these trials, and they had their periods of time where they were questioning, and they were angry, they were upset, they were mourning, they were grieving, they were going through loss, they were going through all these things, yet they still were able to praise on God for the things that he is, because we know that God, being omnipotent, omniscient, all-powerful, all-loving God, has nothing to do with the circumstances that I'm going through right now. He is still those things, so he still deserves the praise for those things, and I can rejoice in those things while in tears for my circumstances. I have been there where I'm literally crying on my knees over some type of loss or some event that's happened in my life, while I can still say, God, like, thank you for being you, though. You know what I mean? So I think that's important to, like, make that distinction, that we're not saying that you need to be happy all the time, and if you're not, you're sinful. Not true. Emotions are not sinful, bad or good. Right? What we do based off of our emotions can lead to either good or not so good decisions, but the emotion themselves, God has given us humans the ability to feel a variety of different and complex emotions, and what we do with them is what matters, which is why it says, like, rejoice always, pray continuously, or give thanks in all circumstances, because we understand that there are these formidable things that are bigger than what we feel, and that are bigger than our circumstances.
So
you know what I mean?
Like, I think it really comes back to, like, we don't think you can idolize that, you know, you don't think you can idolize things that don't seem good, you know, like, it's easy to think, like, oh, I love my phone, I love money, like, that makes sense, like, or a celebrity, like, oh yeah, I do idolize that, like, that almost, like, is easier to agree, you know, it's more agreeable. But when you think about, like, oh, maybe I am idolizing my circumstances that might be poor, you know, maybe I am idolizing the situation I'm in instead of the God that's over the situation I'm in, you know, which is harder to admit and harder to realize, but I just think that it is something we can be aware of. Like, are you trying to fulfill God's will just so that you can say you're fulfilling God's will, or just so that you can feel confident that, like, oh, I'm doing the right thing, you know, just so you can feel good, or is it because you genuinely want to live life? And I think that's why it's so amazing that, like, this is the Bible verse, like, it doesn't agree with you. Like, no one wants to hear, like, you have, like, rejoice always, like, pray continually, like, give thanks in all circumstances. They're like, okay, that goes against our human nature for sure.
Does,
and so, like, it would be a lot easier for God to just be like, oh my God, like, my will is for you just to be happy, you know, like, be happy. But he's saying, like, in all circumstances, like, go against what you may want, go against what you might be idolizing, those feelings, those emotions.
That's the ultimate form of discipline, going against your flesh.
And obviously I do want to say, like, there's such, feeling emotions is not idolizing. Like, I'm not saying if you feel deeply, you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm placing this over God. But it's like, are you incorporating God into that, or are you placing that, like, are you giving that more power than God, you know? Like you were saying, like, God, like David and Job were acknowledging, he is omnipotent, not like, he is the most powerful being. And if you start to give more power to how you feel in the moment or your circumstances, God is probably like, dude, like, I can't imagine what he thinks sometimes, like, it feels so bad. And, like, there's so many tragic, like, things that happen on earth that are such a huge deal, but, like, even as hard it is to believe, like, God is bigger, like, period, done. And so it would be a lot easier to hear, like, God's will is to, like, just chill, you know, just whatever, but God is saying, like, go against that. And I think he says that also because he knows the best is for us. Like, he knows that when we do these things, giving thanks, that gratitude heart, like, you can't, like, be grateful and
curse, like, someone, you know what I mean?
At the same time, or, like, they're saying, like, worry doesn't, you can't worry and think something, like, in the same, at the same Which time. Is why you can't worry about something and, like, think something for it. Like, it doesn't match. So, like, God is saying, like, when you fill your heart with that gratitude, especially during Thanksgiving season, like, how much fruit comes from, like, just, like, taking a step back, like, oh, I am so thankful for just small things we take for granted. Like, that removes some of, like, the doubt that or, like, the frustrations of the things that we are, you know, taking for granted.
And I've mentioned this multiple times now on this podcast, where even my therapist, who is not a Christian person, has literally taught me that the ultimate sense, like, the ultimate state you can be in is a state of contentment. And literally one of my coping skills is gratitude. And it's like, it's so funny because to me in my head, I'm like, what a biblical mindset, you know, but I believe I believe that so many things that we have in our society today are all pulled from, you know, even our golden rule, things, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, it's literally scripture. You know, but that's why I'm saying that, like, I've literally been in a place where I have forced myself, even when I really don't want to, if I'm really frustrated, I start thinking of things that I am grateful for. Like, again, like, for example, one that a lot of people can relate to that drives me absolutely nuts is traffic. Traffic drives me absolutely batty. Like, I want to drive off the road and just, like, off a cliff, like, just to get away from it. And in St. Pete, it seems like it's getting worse and worse. Yeah. And so, but there will be times where I'm like, but you know what? I'm like, man, I'm sitting in a car that I you know, I can have this car and call it mine. I'm sitting in a car that's got gas that I can pay for. You know what I mean? I'm like, when you put it in perspective of other things, it makes it seem so small and so trivial. And obviously in that moment, traffic is really frustrating. It's preventing me from getting to the place that I want to go. It's viewed as an obstacle. Of course, you know, but I'm like, man, like, I'm like, if it was on the way to go to friends or something, I'm like, man, I'm grateful that I'm, like, worried because I have people that want to see me, that are waiting for me. Right. You know, like, there's so many ways to flip it around. Yeah. And ultimately, especially when it's a situation like traffic where there is nothing you can do about it. So you can either sit and fester. That's not gonna fix anything. And allow yourself to be miserable. And I am preaching to the choir because I have literally let traffic ruin my day. Right. Because I get so flustered and so frustrated, and it doesn't help that with my anxiety, being late is a really big trigger for me. I have no idea why. I've been wired like that since I was a kid. I hate being late to any place. And I've had panic attacks because I was going to be late. And like to events or to hang out with people that it literally doesn't matter. Right. Or I ended up getting there on time anyway, and like everything was fine. But like the idea of being late, I can't handle it for some reason. So like traffic can be like a big one for me. Right. But literally sitting and focusing to allow myself to have a moment to take a deep breath and think of all of the things that I can be grateful for. And I'm like, man, my troubles are real small. Yeah. No, that reminds me, there was like this post going around on like different social media things, but it was someone saying like, man, I have so many dishes to do, which is like, man, there are so many like well-fed tummies, you know, or like I have so much laundry to do. Oh, that means I have warm clothes, you know, warm, clean clothes. Like if you really flip it, like with chores, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I have these dishes, but that's because I was able to feed myself and my family, you know, like, I love that. Oh, I have all this laundry to do. Oh, like I have nice, warm, clean clothes. Or it's saying like, oh my, I keep using those two because that's like what the post said, but it was like, oh, my sink is full of dishes. Like, oh, what a representation that, you know, we're so blessed to have homemade meals. Like, it's just like that, again, that perspective switch. That is so much harder, like, to do than to say, but it's definitely been a huge thing in my life, like taking a step back and like just thanking God for little things that we truly do, overlook. So speaking of the week of gratefulness, here in the United States, all right, we're getting British to talk about an American holiday. It is the week of Thanksgiving, and I also just want to say that, which I think we've like jokingly touched on before, there's a lot of like not so great things tied with this holiday that I like don't associate with. I'm literally just like taking the time to be with family and be grateful. Yes, like turning a bad I think it's good. So and if you don't know anything about Thanksgiving, we basically as Americans, we use it as an excuse to just eat a ton of food, which never done that before. That's crazy for us Americans. Right. But it's very specific food that like we really only let us like have it once a year, so it's special. Which love and hate, because I would eat it all year round if I could. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm not a very big Thanksgiving food person. No. I know, and it actually breaks my heart because I want to like look forward to it, but like I'm saying, like at the youth Friendsgiving, I literally just had Caesar salad and like a bunch of bread and like desserts. And at the young adults Friendsgiving, I tried mac and cheese and a bunch of bread and desserts. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. That's so sad. Well, it'll make for interesting conversation, because we were going to talk about some of our top moments from this year that we're grateful for, and then we were going to rank the best and worst Thanksgiving foods. Yes. And like what we love and what we don't like. Based off what I said, y'all probably got a good feeling. I was gonna say we're gonna have some disagreements. Just a few. But okay, so you can start. What is something from this year? Oh, LOL. That you're grateful for? Oh, bad. Okay, that's real.
I think okay, this is gonna sound cliche, especially coming after Manna, but like I genuinely feel just so grateful for the opportunities I've had to just obviously get closer to the Lord and like just serve God.
Yeah.
In just different ways.
Yeah.
I think in the past, just like my whole life, I very much like limited God, I think, in just what I do and don't want to do, or what I think I'm qualified for and what I don't think I'm qualified for.
Yeah.
And something I've learned this year is to just say yes and like let God do the rest. And I've talked about it before because it's something I feel very, very strongly about. Because like even when I do, like for example, I'm talking about like preaching or even like the missions trips or like just little things like that. Like especially when it comes to preaching, I used to pray like, God, like take away my nerves. Like I just want to be like confident when I get up there, you know, and just like speak from you. And obviously I'm still praying like it's the Holy Spirit speaking through me, but it's more so like when I am nervous, I just go like, God, thank you that I'm nervous and that I know I can't do this myself. You know, like wow. I go on that, like I start to speak. I'm like, I almost want to fail sometimes so that I remember that I'm not doing this myself.
Wow.
Like, that's just something that has really changed the way I see things. Because,
that's
like,
such a crazy perspective shift. I love that.
If I am, like, going into even, like, work and stuff, like, little things, like, I want to be nervous. Like, I want to do well. Because when I do well, then you get the glory. Because, again, if I went into work or just went and did preaching and just went into church, did mission trips, and it all just came so easy to me, and I was like, la 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 la. I mean,
you can just be everything. Like, oh, I'm amazing.
Like, I wouldn't think twice to be like, God help me, like, God, like, you get the glory. But, like, when I'm at my, like, lowest, like, when the first time I preached, and I literally was, like, terrified, like,
where your
deathly scared.
Is where God begins.
Exactly, where I'm like, I genuinely don't want to do this. Like, it feels like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
And then, like, that final amen, when I'm able to, like, say I literally just preached a sermon, knowing my past and knowing how like little, like barely itty bitty I could have done that in the past, you know, and thinking like that was all God. You know, like thinking that the only way I could have done this is not by my own. And that's just been something that has really shifted a lot of the things and just the way that I do things this year.
I love that.
That I'm so grateful like the Holy Spirit has like kind of brought to my attention, if that makes sense, because I'm taking credit for that, because like I don't even know, but again, that's kind of lame. I'm going to say something.
That's not lame.
It's not lame, but I want to say something.
Mine's kind of lame, too. I don't know. I like one of the first things that came to my mind, I think, are friendships from this year. Yeah. Kind of last, like, year and a half, because I feel like I get crap from it from my friends sometimes, because when I was in college and, like, going through high school, I've talked about, like, I was bullied like a fair amount. And not to say that I didn't have friends in high school. I did. A lot of them ended up leaving me by my senior year. You know, but when I got to college, I was excited because I was starting new. I was starting fresh. And I am not a very social person. Right. Like, I'm not the person to go to any kind of party. I'm not, I don't like to hang out and, like, talk after class. I don't want to do those things. I would rather go to the cafeteria and pick a table in the corner and, like, watch my show with my headphones and eat my food.
No, because
than,
that's
like,
so
have
wrong.
my conversations. Like, that's just, it's peaceful to me. In my entire, like, 4.5 years of college, I was either in class, in my dorm, at the gym, or I was at church. Or I was back home visiting Vlad. Like, you know, like I literally did not go to any social outings. So it was always kind of like a running joke where I would talk, like, I literally don't have friends. And people would talk about all their friends or they would have all these plans. I was like, ha ha ha, like, I don't have friends. My friends in college were my roommates, which I'm so grateful for because I spent so much time in my room that, like, those girls are still my friends now and, like, lifelong friendships. Right. And like, I believe it was a God thing. Like, literally, my college roommate was my maid of honor in my wedding, and I got to be her maid of honor in her wedding. Like, it's beautiful. But I've still kind of had this running joke because I think it's, like, one of those things where the way that we view ourselves can be so different from how other people view us. Because, like, no one else but yourself sees how you have seen yourself since you were a child. Yeah. Right? And, like, our a huge, if not majority of our identity of what we believe about ourselves is installed and created when you are a child. Yeah. Right? And growing up, I was very awkward. I was actually pretty outgoing as a kid, but as I went through bullying and different things started happening, I kind of started to slowly seclude myself more and more because I would show my personality and people would let me know that they didn't like it. So I started to kind of like
suppress it.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to annoy anybody. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. And so like I've had this self-image, which is something I've been working on in therapy. I've had this self-image of myself, and I am stuck viewing myself as middle school Hannah, where I am awkward. I mean, middle school is the most awkward time in anybody's life, right? But I am awkward. I don't have a lot of friends. People make fun of me and don't like me. I'm not very pretty. Like I'm very, very awkward. And just kind of a little weird, like unique in a bad way.
Not quirky.
Not quirky. You know, and I've had this, and as I've completely grown and changed, and I'm a full adult with a fully developed frontal lobe, whatever, cortex it is, I still view myself as that awkward middle schooler that a lot of people, you know, had their opinions about me. And I can't seem to break out of that, right? So I've always had this belief that I don't have a lot of friends, because there was a period of time where I didn't. And I've always liked the idea of having a close circle. I see people that have like 50 friends, and I can't keep up. Like, it overwhelms me. But it's funny because now over like the last year and a half, you know, I'm hanging out with more people. I'm having more conversations with people. I'm using the word friend, and we all know what that means to me, to use the word friend. And Maddie will kind of like give me, like she'll kind of joke with me about it. And she'll be like, thought you didn't have any friends, LOL. And but it's funny though, because when she says it, it kind of does put it in perspective, because I'm like, wow, like, no, you're right. Like I have started hanging out with more people and like kind of letting my personality fly a little bit more and like wanting to go like the fact that like with specifically with like our young adults group, or like with, you know, our church group that we have that was kind of formed through the missions trip and then pickleball, and that kind of grew the group and everything. The fact that I have ever gotten FOMO from hanging out with you guys just goes to show like I don't get FOMO. Like I have JOMO, where I'm joy of missing out. And like I love being at home, and I love canceling plans and like whatever. But like there were times where I would literally get FOMO, and I'm like, that's a new feeling for me. Like or the thing with like with Mel and the Friendsgiving, where I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, and I literally worked so hard that day to get my house ready so that I could go to Friendsgiving because I wanted to be there with the community.
Right.
So like there's so many friendships that I've had from this year, I mean you included, where I'm like, wow, I do have friends, and I like love that so much. I'm happy for that, and I feel like they're the healthiest. The friends that I had, I really feel like my new friendships have really started since I went to college. And so since these new friendships, starting with my college roommates to now, like are some of the healthiest friendships that I have. And there have been people that have gone from my life, and I'm okay with that. Because again, people come and go for a reason, and you know, you learn from it. But like I'm really, really grateful for the people that I have in my life, and I feel like my circle has grown this year in a really good way, and I'm really grateful for that. And that took a really long time, but you know, I thought it was good.
Yeah, man, all those people that are friends with you, how lucky are they? I'm telling you. Like,
see, I don't feel like they're very lucky. I feel like I'm really lucky.
Like they're lucky, like to know Hannah and be like friends with her. Like everyone's like, oh, you know Hannah, like you're friends with Hannah. I'm like, oh. Obviously. The fact that you noticed that is the biggest compliment ever. Like, you think that she would like me? Yes, please. You think that we're actually, like, friends and that she enjoys my company? Yes, please. Thank you. I'm gonna take that.
Because you're talking about how we're parents, and, like, I will take things from you. Because I'm, like, I'm in awe of you and your personality. Stop. But I might actually just be taking it from someone else that I don't know, because you took it from me.
All right, Emma. No need to call me out like that. No, that's just.
But we both do it though.
So bad, which guys. Is so funny. I do not have a personality of my own. I have like an identity crisis. I'm not grateful for that. Next year, New Year's resolution that we all hate. I'm going to make my own something. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to have like a saying or something.
You need to be a trendsetter.
That I'm going to think of myself.
I love that.
And people are going to start stealing it from me.
I have nothing original to say.
I don't either, but I'm going to figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Okay, I think we should just go random. I feel like those were 2 really good things that we're grateful for, and we just need to go into the food rankings because that's what the people are here for. They're not here to listen to us be sap and yap.
They're like, girls, stop.
Clean it up.
I'm gonna start saying that. That's my saying now. Oh wait, no, you came up with it. Wait a second.
I said it. No.
All right.
The habit of just taking is just too much.
All right. I don't even want to talk about that. All right.
Clean it up.
Bro, I swear, that's so bad that like me coming up with something was immediately stealing it from someone else. Like I thought that was like good. I was like, yep, I checked that New Year's resolution off. I came up with it. Literally me stealing from someone else. All right.
But you're gonna start saying it now.
Let's clean this up. Stop. All right.
3. I want to start with like the 3 worst, or whatever, like however many, and then your 3 favorite.
I have a confession.
You have no favorite Thanksgiving foods.
No, that's crazy.
Oh, okay.
I have a confession.
What?
Hand is raised.
Yes.
Hand on the table.
Girl named Mia was raising her hand. I call on you.
I have not tried a lot of Thanksgiving foods because I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
I don't like trying new things.
Okay, I relate to that, but like, have you never tried them as a kid?
No, because honestly, my family did not help. My family was like, shout
you
out parents, I love you, thankful for you. But like, they never pushed me to try things.
Okay.
So like, what I liked, I ate. And like, they just gave me what I liked. Like, they never pushed me.
The amount of times I was forced to eat things that I didn't like as a kid.
No, like that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
beanies
I'm grateful for that, genuinely.
Stop.
Stop. That literally, I listened to that episode sometimes. I've listened to that episode I think 3 times, and I literally cracked up every single time.
Which one was that?
That was the childhood stories, the embarrassing childhood stories.
I need to re-listen to that episode.
I think I listened to that one recently, and it was so good. LOL. But re-listen to it, guys. But yeah, they didn't like ever push me to try things.
Okay.
So like, I would just grab what I liked, and they're like, okay, girl, she's just gonna eat what she's gonna eat.
Okay, so you said you didn't like Thanksgiving foods. In reality, you just don't know them.
Yes. That's my confession. Okay. That I lied.
Confession.
But I also lie to everyone, and I just say that I don't like them because I'm also like, it's too late in my life. I can't grab
baby girl. It's not too late. Okay, you're literally so young.
Hannah, I'm gonna tell myself I don't want to.
Okay, but what if I'm cooking a lot of them and I give you desserts on top of it that I know that you would like, in to trade just like one bite?
Like
Like, what if it changes your whole world and you love Thanksgiving food and then you love Thanksgiving and you have something to look forward to next year?
I don't know what it is. Like, it's like the weird stuff.
Like,
I don't know
you're
what's
not
stopping
gonna get
me.
sick.
No, I genuinely don't know what's stopping me. But like, when I go to Thanksgiving, like, I just only like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's something mental. It's like a mental block. Like, even at like Friendsgiving, like, I only get what I know I like. I don't try new things. Because
I'll tell you now,
I'm very bad at trying new things.
I can relate to that in some ways. I've been to other people's Thanksgiving, and I will say, between me, my mom, and like my cousin's cooking, like, it's genuinely like some of the best food.
Okay, but then also, hear me out. Not saying that like any of it would be bad, but like also I have a deep fear. What if I went to Friendsgiving and I like try to live up everything, and I was like, this is all so bad. Like, now I have to like force myself to eat it. I think I just hate not liking food. I don't like the feeling of not liking the taste or texture of food, so I just avoid any situation where that would come up.
There's so much good food that you're missing out on.
I know. And I think I'm just missing out on it because I'm so terrified. Not terrified, but I'm like, I dread the feeling of not liking a food. So I just avoid any foods.
We're gonna get over this together.
But then also, what if you cook me something, then I feel bad, Hannah, and then I don't like it?
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm not that sensitive. It's okay. It's okay. Then I gotta, you don't have to like it.
And then I gotta like,
because you know what?
Gotta take the plate and then put it upside down in the trash can. You know what I'm saying?
No. Because I'm not gonna give you enough for you to do that. Okay, we're talking like literally like you would take a fork off of my plate.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, then there's more for me. I'm totally okay with that. And also, like, I don't really take it as like, I mean, yeah, it is like either me or my mom's cooking, but it ultimately like they're pretty staple dishes. And so, like it's more so like you don't like the Thanksgiving food. It's not that you don't like my cooking. Right. You know, I wouldn't take that personally. Right. Okay, not at all.
Anyways, but that's my confession. But yeah, let's continue. Sorry.
I love the confession. But so you don't have your top 3 worst because you haven't tried a lot of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't even tell you like the ones that I really tried.
Okay. I will say I'm doing a terrible job with this episode and what I want to talk about because I don't think I have any Thanksgiving foods that I don't like. Really? The only thing, I guess, I love green bean casserole, but I don't like mushrooms. And a lot of people make green bean casserole with cream of mushroom soup. And I don't like mushrooms. However, I make green bean casserole with cream of celery. So I avoid that. I get very good flavor, but I avoid the mushrooms. So if there is mushrooms in it, then I guess I wouldn't like that. I would still eat it because it's cream of mushroom soup. It's not like full on eating mushrooms. And I can honestly like flavor that mushrooms give off without eating. Mushrooms is more of a texture thing for me.
Right.
Than it is a flavor, but it does have chunks of mushroom in it, so that's like I wouldn't particularly enjoy it, even though I would still eat it.
Right.
This is kind of a hot take actually. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't really like pumpkin. I think I've mentioned this before. I just like pumpkin seeds.
Yes.
I don't.
It's so funny though, because like if we're talking about Thanksgiving desserts, I chow down. I'm a dessert person.
Right. Same. Which is ironic again because it's like. And I'm not really a big fan of sweet potato pie. I think with both of them, I love the flavor of sweet potato. I don't like the flavor of pumpkin. And I think it's also both a texture thing.
The sneeze came out.
Yay.
From an hour ago. Thank you. Anyways,
I think it's like also a texture thing. It's almost like a pudding but I like pudding. I don't know what it is.
Texture person.
I don't like pumpkin pie. And I feel like that's the number one dessert you think of with Thanksgiving is pumpkin pie. And I just don't like it. And I guess if I had to pick another one, I'll do the challenge anyway. I do love ham. Like we always, with our family Thanksgiving, we typically always get like a honey baked ham.
Yeah.
I like ham. Ham is fine. It's not turkey though. Like if I had to rank it with all the other Thanksgiving foods, like bottom would be like the mushroom soup with actually the bottom would be sweet potato, pumpkin pie because I won't even eat that. I will eat the cream and mushroom soup and green bean casserole, but it's not my favorite. And then it'll be the ham, even though I do like the ham. But if I'm ranking it,
it's not like
it's near the bottom because it's just to me like the ham is like a little side dish. I'm like, okay, but you're not the main event, sweetie. The honey baked ham, I love the crust on the outside because it's like caramelized honey and it's like super super good. And again, I like ham, but it's not, and I'll eat some. Like I'm full on gonna have it on my plate and chow down and enjoy it, but it's not as good compared to the other foods.
Real.
Okay, now your favorites.
Okay, my favorites. Mac and cheese.
Real.
Mashed potatoes.
Real.
Bread. Rolls.
Real.
That's my answer. That is what my plate is full of when I go to Thanksgiving. I say, give me some of that, give me some of this.
I love that.
No gravy on my mashed potatoes either.
Oh, I love gravy.
Because gravy scares me.
Is it just because of our experience?
That didn't help, let me tell you.
I love gravy. Interesting.
But I'm trying to, I think.
Any specific, Hercules making an appearance. Any specific kind of roll? Like, is it a Hawaiian roll? Is it a crescent roll?
My sister's homemade yeast rolls.
Ooh, homemade, yeah, okay. So good.
Cry. Those are literally decadent, amazing.
All right, I love it. I'm here for it.
But yeah, any like soft rolls.
Okay.
I'm not I'm not a big fan of those kind of hard rolls. Those don't make me happy. But like if they're like soft, like almost like even Hawaiian rolls, like
Hawaiian rolls with some warm butter.
For real, 4 of them on my plate.
Yeah. All right.
Oh well.
All right, I'm gonna go from bottom to my top food. So I'm trying to think. I don't want to leave out anything. Okay, I'll probably say sweet potato casserole is number 3.
I'm gonna say if I've had it or not. I haven't had that.
Okay, here's the thing. I used to not like it because I had other people's and it was a texture thing. But
I'm a huge texture person.
Me too. So that's why you can trust me.
Okay.
Me and my cousin make our own recipe. So a lot of people with sweet potato casserole make it with a marshmallow topping. That's like the typical.
Yes.
And it's not that that's bad, but that it's too much soft. It's too squishy.
It's not like
I need contrast.
I feel you.
So me and my cousin make a different type of topping that is basically like brown sugar, melted butter, crunched up corn flakes, and you put that on top and you bake it, and it's crispy and it's crunchy and it's delicious.
That sounds really good.
And we literally last year, like we pride ourselves on it. We made some of the best sweet potato casserole I've ever had. It was so good. So again, this is what I mean. Like you need to try my sweet potato casserole.
Right.
So good. So worth it. So sweet potato casserole, the turkey. I love turkey.
Of course, classic.
Like, I just love turkey. I'm also one of the weird people. Well, I don't know if this is weird. Maybe this is me trying to be quirky, even though I'm not. I like my turkey dry. I think that is weird. A lot of people like any type of meat that they eat to be juicy. But with turkey, it kind of gets the texture gets weird when it's too juicy. And I like it better and I like the flavor and I like the texture better when it's dry.
Interesting.
No, that's just how it is. But I love me good roasted turkey. And then my number one is stuffing.
Oh.
Like, when I could cry. Like, I could cry when I think about the love that I have for stuffing. I'll send you a picture of my plate.
Do it.
75% of my plate is stuffing.
It's stuffing?
It's bad, but it's so good. But it's bad. I don't care if it was in the bird, outside of the bird. A cornbread stuffing, gag. It's so good. Like, gag because it's good, not gag because it's bad. So good. And now, again, I love all of the other Thanksgiving foods. Sweet corn casserole, sweet potato casserole. I already said sweet potato. Green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, peas, like whatever it is. Cranberry sauce. Oh, I love cranberry. I literally love all the Thanksgiving food, literally except for pumpkin pie. But stuffing, like if you never think, like, if you could marry a food, I would marry stuffing. I would marry it. That would be
a good spouse, I think.
Like, I would walk down the aisle to a piping hot bowl of stuffing waiting for me on the other end.
Facts.
And Vlad would be in the audience crying. And I would still marry that stuffing.
Like, oh well.
So that's
clean it up.
That's my clean it up.
Am I right?
Clean it up. That's the love that I have for stuffing. It goes deep.
Facts.
And but I also don't really allow myself to have it like any other time of year, because it's I have to have it on Thanksgiving, and then the week after where I get all my leftovers.
What's your go-to leftover? Like, do you
stuffing.
Make it in anything else?
No, just stuffing.
You just reheat it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just stuffing.
Because people get real creative.
Stuffing. I'm not like Ross with the sandwich.
The moist maker.
My sandwich? I relate to that so much. If someone ate my sandwich like that of my Thanksgiving leftovers, I would have a riot.
And threw it in the trash.
And
I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie. If I had this amazing meal,
his reaction was under.
No, I agree. Like, if I looked forward to this meal, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry, I had some in the trash." You did? Oh no.
No, I would actually get violent. It's bad.
Like,
he was totally justified.
Very much so.
Anyway, I'm so happy that you guys are here. If you're still here for this episode,
y'all are troopers.
Listen, if you're here when we post about this episode, comment a turkey. And we'll know
on the most recent post.
Watch me, no comments.
Oh, wait, this is so embarrassing. Wait, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna pretend. Okay, next episode that we record after, obviously, this episode comes out, and no one comments. I'm gonna tell y'all I blocked everyone. I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing my plan.
How can you say that in the episode?
I'm gonna put on my story or our story. I'd be like, got hacked. LOL. Sorry. Someone deleted all of our comments. I delete everyone's comments from every other post just to save us. No, it reminds me of that. Who was it? I don't remember. It was some music artist where I think it was Charlie XCX or someone random. Where she's like, guys, 5,000 shares and I'll release my new album. And she didn't get enough. She's like, guys, I got hacked. I'm gonna release my album when I'm ready. Like, girl, you didn't get enough. You didn't get enough shares.
That's so funny. Okay.
Anyways, this is random.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving in whichever way that you celebrate, or maybe you don't. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, just take some time, some reflection to be grateful.
Gratitude is good.
And cook yourself a good home meal. That's it. Whatever your version of comfort food is. Go ahead, babe. Eat the meal. Binge a little bit.
You deserve it.
Not binge. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Eat a lot and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yes.
Go crazy.
Take advantage.
Love it. Live it.
Love it.
Live, laugh, love.
And clean it up.
Clean it up after when you're done, sweetie.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
See ya.